All right, here is the last of our key concepts. Key concept 3.3, increased economic productive capacity and consequences. So basically what's kind of happening as a result of all of this trade and all of these interactions. So like I said, you get to see the rise and fall of post-classical cities. Cities are falling because of invasion, diseases, decline in agriculture. I mentioned the little ice age earlier, which was this prolonged period of cooling that led to a decline in population and food production. So this is why some of these cities start to decline. But then by the end of the post-classical period, mainly, but then throughout it, you see cities start to rise because they're not being invaded anymore. It's safer. There's a rise in trade. There are new crops available, so more food means more people. You have more labor, and so you have more people to do all these different jobs. Speaking of labor, you have all these different kinds of labor. You have your free peasants, pastoralists like the Mongols. Your craft production guilds are super important during this period. This is a collection of craftsmen, and they are protecting their craft. So they're setting standards of labor, standards of production. They're trying to unify everything, and guilds become very big during the early modern period. You have coerced labor like slavery, serfdom, the Incan Meta system, government obligations, military obligations, like this is feudalism in Europe. So you just have all these different kinds of labor, and a lot of times they end up overlapping with each other. Did I miss a slide? Hold on. Oh, I did. I missed all the new agriculture stuff. So you have the Chinampas with the Aztecs, the Waru in the Andean, terrace farming, the 3-field rotation. So you just have all these new ways of growing crops so that you can produce more food to help feed the populations, and then you get more people, which is why you need all these little labor systems. All right. Women in some regions do get to exercise more power and influence. In the Mongols, they're allowed to move around. They don't have to practice foot binding like in China. They're advisors. There is a time when there was a woman in charge of the Mongols. In Japan, you have the tale of Genji, which was the first novel written by a woman. We watched that whole video on the Heian period, where women are writing all the history and doing all the literature. But particularly important, and what you need to take out of this and carry forward, is in Southeast Asia, women have more freedom as they're working in agriculture. They're controlling the markets. And what ends up happening is this is how, when we move forward, when Europe comes into the picture, this is how Europeans are able to trade in a lot of regions, is because you have these women who were merchants taking the products of Europeans into the markets to sell because Europeans weren't allowed. So because of these women, Europe's going to enter in and start to dominate trade in the early modern period. Again, this is just a little bit more information on serfdom. Don't forget, you have feudalism going on at the same time in Europe and in Japan, and they're very, very similar. Okay, they both have serfs. Serfs are going to persist in Russia for a while. So you can go back and check those out. Then you have, again, the diffusion of religion. So you can see Buddhism is going from India. It's going to go into Central Asia, to China, to Korea, to Japan, and into Southeast Asia. You have Christianity going all throughout the Mediterranean region. Same thing with Islam. And don't forget that Islam is traveling also to Southeast Asia. And then you're going to start to see the rise of Neo-Confucianism in China. So the nice condensed version of everything, it's talking about production and urbanization and just the different social effects of labor. And if you just need a real quick refresher before you take the test, according to Freemanpedia, here's the too long didn't read version. So pretty much everything is trade. You have the Muslims and the Mongols. You have all of these empires that are collapsing. Feudal Europe's gone. The Byzantines are going to be gone. We're going to get like the Holy Roman Empire, which is not holy, not Roman, and not an empire. You have bye-bye Renaissance in China because you have the Mongols. Movement of languages and peoples. And then labor, farming, and urban life are going to be super, super important. So hopefully this plus the other podcast will help you guys out on your tests. Watch this a couple times and make sure you go back and read the slides that you need to read.